Good evening, folks, and welcome to another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and Dangerous Dave. I am Benny Scala, aka the Playa, aka Benny the Jet. Now, many girls or gals claim the title Bad Girl, but we have the OG in the house, and that is the one and only Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you this glorious Monday evening? Now, you're not feeling it. You're a little bit under the weather, right?
A little bit under the weather, but otherwise okay. Yeah.
Good.
How are
Glad
you
to hear
guys
it.
doing?
I'm staying warm, although it's actually gonna go down to 42, which for Florida is very cold.
Yes.
Very,
Babies.
very cold. You get kind of spoiled down here, and the other gentleman, well, I mean the gentleman, because I'm not a gentleman, but is the man, the myth, the legend, the Carnival King, Uncle Dave himself, Dangerous Dave Star. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great for this Monday. Cold. We got some snow over the weekend, but that's life in New England. And I hope everybody had a great weekend. And unfortunately, we have a case tonight that nobody wins, really. Like nobody wins. And
there are no winners.
It really
it's more than one victim.
And it really bothers me as I've had discussions with you guys that anything that has children involved really affects me. And tonight's it's got children. The children are in it tonight, and I want to just say that I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about this scumbag tonight. So help me God.
Amen to
that.
that.
Help me.
Absolutely. So for those of you in Radio Land, thanks for listening on Want Radio. They got what you want. We're now available on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and Boomplay. For those of you watching for the first time, please like and subscribe. And we're going to do a quick word from our sponsors and then on to our show. True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars is brought to you by the Burbrower Law Firm. Folks, if you've been injured in a car accident, please reach out to our good friend Adam Burbrower at the Burbrower Law Firm. Adam and his crew do things the right way with great results. Not only is Adam a great attorney, but the dude has framed pictures of Ernie the Cat Lad, the unpredictable Johnny Rods, and our very own Boston Bad Girl in his office. How cool is that? If you see Adam at the community pool trying to nail that elusive triple Lindy, you'll notice superstar Billy Graham tattooed on his back and Bret the Hitman Hart tattooed on his chest. This guy is not only the man of the hour, the man with the legal power, too sweet to be sour, he is also the excellence of elocution. Besides being a great guy, Adam is a true crime aficionado and an avid WWF historian. Who else can get you a great settlement while breaking down Mario Mancini's greatest matches? Well, that one's a quickie. Check out Adam at burbrowerlaw.com and follow him on Facebook. And don't forget to tell him that the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars sent you. And now for the hottest product on the market, Uncle Dave Sausage. True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars is brought to you by Uncle Dave's Sausage. Are you hungry? Hungry for something thick, juicy, and just a little bit naughty? Introducing Uncle Dave's Sausage, the only meat that knows exactly how to fill your buns. Whether you like it spicy, smoky, or just plain stuffed to the brim, Uncle Dave's got the girth, the girth of flavor you crave. Morning, evening, a quick nibble at 3 a.m. No shame, baby. Uncle Dave's Sausage is served 24/7 at the carnival, where the rides aren't the only things that go up and down. You might have been into fitness, but once you've had the Uncle Dave's experience, the only thing on your mind will be fitting this sausage in your mouth. Slide it between two warm buns, slather it in mayo, or give it a good squirt of mustard if you're feeling frisky. Don't be shy. You know you want it. Everyone's lining up to take a bite. Even Grandma said it was the best thing to ever slap her in the mouth, because nothing slaps you in the mouth quite as hard as Uncle Dave's Sausage. So, folks, in the heat of the night or the light of the day, when your cravings for meat just won't go away, don't settle for Slim or some flimsy old link. Get Uncle Dave's Sausage. It's thicker than you think. Available now only at the carnival. Bring a friend or two. Uncle Dave's Sausage. the sausage you can't say no to. Well, guys, sadly, we had to start the show on a kind of a tragic note. I'm going to throw this slide up here. I guess it was yesterday. Rob Reiner, 78 years old. I think that's his wife's name is Michelle. 68 were found stabbed to death, and I believe the police have their 32-year-old son Nick in custody. And we were talking before the show that he, when I look at Rob Reiner, I always think of Meathead. And I know Dave will agree from All in the Family. One truly or easily to me, one of the best shows in the history of television. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Brittany, you want to go?
Sure. No, it was my favorite show. Absolutely. I loved it. It was just, and when I saw that yesterday, I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And then when I heard that it was the son, I was as shocked, if not more. Awful. Just awful.
Well, All in the Family was part of our culture in our house growing up. We've talked about this before. Back in the 70s when you only had one TV and you had to watch what was on TV, and my stepfather loved All in the Family. Every week it was on. He never missed it. That's why I've got every single DVD that there is. I went out and bought it years and years and years ago. I just was watching it last night, even before I knew Meathead passed away. I guess it's, if I have to speculate, I don't agree with anything that Rob Reiner stands for, but as an actor and on this show, he gave me a lot of entertainment, pleasure of watching that and laughing. And once he left the show and Sally Struthers left the show, I believe after season 7, they made a few appearances here and there. That show was done. It was gone. It was all done, unfortunately. And to be 78 years old and 67 years old as they were, to have your son slice your throats, from what I understand, he slit their throats, I can't even comprehend it. And his daughter lives across the street. His daughter, Rory, she's the one that found him in Brentwood. And
God.
I guess we'll just go that he was a drug addict, I'm assuming a spoiled brat. And I'm assuming he was at the house wanting money. And I'm assuming that the parents said, nope, get out, you're shut off. And that's what happened when hate and rage take over. Hate, rage, and whatever hallucinants he was on, that's what happened. So, unfortunately, great actor.
Great producer
sad.
as well. A lot of
Director.
great movies he produced.
Yeah, director. Yep. Didn't he produce? I might be wrong on this, but didn't he produce the movie with Andre the Giant in it, Princess Bride?
I believe you are correct.
Yep. And
of course,
yeah,
he was in the chat, or Denise will get the verification. So if you're out there, ladies, please let us know. But I totally agree with you, Dave. With that show, when they left, part of that, I mean, everybody in that show played their part to perfection, and it was so funny. It was like listening to George the Animal Steel or Ivan Koloff speak, out of character. You wonder, like, man, they like Ivan Koloff with that heavy Russian accent all those years. When you heard Carol O'Connor, the man was so eloquent, and so was Gene Stapleton. Very, very well spoken. I mean, she was not a dingbat. But I think one of the most interesting parts of the show is the dynamic with Archie and Meathead, because Archie was the ultra conservative right winger, and Mike Stivic, aka Meathead, was the flaming liberal. And it's so funny that in real life his politics mirrored the character on the show. But when they left the show, then it was just Archie and Edith, and I mean it was still good, but it wasn't quite the same as when it was right. I mean, it was all in the family, and it's part of half the family's gone. So
right,
it
really was. I mean, it was one of those shows I looked forward to every week, and when you think about it now, it was so far ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I mean, you could never do a show like that now, right?
oh God, no.
Well, if you listen to Carol O'Connor and Gene Stapleton, they said in the cast they thought it was going to last 1 or 2 episodes, and they
Yeah.
would be kicked. They would be kicked off the air. The FCC or whoever controls that would throw them off the air. They expected 2 episodes tops, and look what happened.
Yep.
I mean, and I mean, even you had like a guy like Sammy Davis Jr. go on the show, and like the dynamic between Archie Bunker and Sammy Davis was just incredible. But it worked.
It was great.
I mean, just a testament to what a talented actor he was. He made it work.
Yep.
He did. Like I said, it's part of our culture, part of my culture, anyways.
I think I told this to you guys earlier. I swear, and maybe this sounds bizarre, but I really believe that Rodney King has said the smartest thing in the last 50 years when he said, "Can't we all just get along?" Those 6 words, and I mean, even now, like I once, of course, there's like 5,000 Facebook obituaries, because everybody has to be a columnist, and you got to read them all. And I really hate to say it, the amount of hate on Rob Reiner was very disappointing. I mean, whatever his political affiliation was, he was a family man. He had kids, he had a wife, he had a great career. You don't want that. You don't wish that on anybody. At least I don't.
No, not at all. And his father was a great talent too.
Oh, Carl, and you got to think Carl Reiner lived to 98, so you got to think that Rob had a few more years left in him.
Definitely.
Well, yeah. I seen a video of him coming out of a restaurant a couple of weeks ago with his wife, and he stopped to talk to the reporters, and he looked great to me. Very fit, a lot of energy.
Yeah,
and
nobody deserves that.
Unfortunate. Nope. To have your throat sliced by your son. Disgusting.
Right. No, I totally agree. Well, not that this is going to be any brighter, but and this literally wrapped up today. Maybe 6 hours ago on January 4th, 2023, Ana Walshe, a Serbian-American real estate executive, was reported missing by her employer and separately by her husband, Brian Walshe. Ana, who had residences in Cohasset, Massachusetts. Did I say that right? Cohasset? And
yes.
Washington, D.C. was last seen early on January 1st in Cohasset, having had dinner with Brian and a friend of his on New Year's Eve. Brian told police that Ana had flown to D.C. for a work emergency after an initial arrest on January 8th for misleading investigators regarding his whereabouts the day of the disappearance. Brian was charged on January 18th with murder and disinterring a body without authority, to which he pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors alleged that he beat her to death and dismembered and disposed of the body. Now, normally Brittany and I, we go through a bunch of factual information, but we're going to go right into this one. And Dave has been following this case very intently since day one. So we're going to give Dave the wheel on this one. Dave, can you give a little bit of background as far as, the couple, how she wound up working in DC and things like that?
Well, it's unfortunate because, and some people out there might not like my views, but as I say, when the show begins, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I mean that. And unfortunately, this is just a tragic, something tragic that was, I know the girl is dead. I get that, but everybody's responsible for the situation. And now you've got 3 kids that are orphaned. So Ana came from Serbia. She came over here from Serbia, met Brian Walshe. She came over here to live the American dream. And she was an intelligent woman. And she hooked up with Brian Walshe, and they had 3 kids together. And he was always troubled, an only child. His father didn't want nothing to do with him. His mother's of Iranian descent. I guess they call it, I don't know if I want to say the word right, Persian descent, which is Iranian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she got a job in Washington, D.C. So he got himself mixed up and shit he couldn't get himself out of with fake Andy Warhol paintings. He's a con man. So he's a con
bum,
man.
right? What's that expression? A ne'er do well, I think is the way.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I believe there was issues with his family before that, as far as maybe stealing from his own family. He's just he's a career bum.
His father disowned him. He's very close to the mother. So when the father was a surgeon, famous surgeon in Boston, passed away, he had a house in Hull. His father passed away overseas, I believe, in India. Is it, Brittany? Was it India?
Yes.
India. But he had a house in Hull and the will was actually in his nephew's name. And when he passed away, he went to the house, stole everything inside the house, took everything out, stole the will. I don't know how these con guys do it, but he was able to sell the house, sell all the property, keep it all. But the charges were dropped against him. And then the blockhead goes, and I don't know how he came about with these Andy Warhol paintings, but gets a hold of the Andy Warhol museum out in California. And the guy out there that runs it bought the paintings from him. And he must have found out shortly thereafter that they were fake paintings, which he should have known that before. So he was brought to court, arrested and brought to court for that and found guilty. He was found guilty. He was given 3 years, 38 months in prison. He has to pay back $475,000 restitution. But the problem is, as he's doing this, and then they put him on house arrest. So because he was on house arrest, Ana Walshe bought a condo in Washington. Her goal was to move her husband and her children out to Washington, where she was making $300,000 a year in the real estate business. But that dream came to an end because when he was given house arrest, he couldn't leave the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So they realized the kids couldn't go to where she was. So she'd have to come home, see the kids, fly home, see him, and go back to Washington.
So he was Mr. Mom, although he wasn't very good at it.
Exactly.
No, yeah, he was a stay-at-home dad, but Ana Walshe somehow fell off the rails and found herself with a couple boyfriends out in Washington. I believe her first boss and her had a relationship. And then she met her second boyfriend. I forget his name. I don't know if you have it written down there.
His last name was Fastow. Fastow.
Right, Fastow. Right. Who took the stand? That was great. I mean, that had me on the seat.
He was a straight shooter.
I was on the seat of my pants when he took the witness stand. Like, this is great. I just happened to have the time off to watch it. And he got up there and detailed what happened, their relationship. But now, this is, the thing is, then she went, not to skip ahead a little bit, but she went to this past Thanksgiving. Listen, I know she's dead. I get she's dead. And I feel bad for the kids. I really do. I'm talking to Brittany a lot about it. Anything that involves kids, I have two of my own. It's just,
I mean, they are the true victims.
But where is her responsibility lies in this? So you got a guy that's staying at home with 3 kids, stay-at-home dad. Thanksgiving, she made a trip to Ireland and a trip to Serbia. So she went with her boyfriend to Ireland. She spent Thanksgiving with her boyfriend out in Ireland. Banging, having a sexual relationship. Leaves. He comes back. She goes to Serbia to see her mother. She comes back, goes to Cohasset. I think at this time, he knew something was going on. Fast forward to Christmas. She didn't come home for Christmas for her kids. I mean, she's got 3 kids at home. She should have been at home on Thanksgiving with her kids.
That's your number one. Like Judge Judy used to say, that it's not, kids aren't your number one priority. They're number 1 through 10, and you're number 11.
Right.
Yep. And she didn't come home for Christmas. She finally, on Christmas Day, drove home late in the day. She got home late. And at this particular point, I believe her fate was sealed. She came back home for a couple days and left again to Washington, went out with her friend to the club. Her friend that was on the witness stand testified they went out for 6, 7, 8 hours, karaoke and dancing. And then she came back for New Year's, and her friend came over New Year's Eve, her boss, who I believe she had an affair with, left at 1:30, and then 2 hours later, she was dead. And they know that because he started Googling stuff at 5:05 in the morning. So
Yep.
she was dead. She was dead by then. What a tragic story. The 3
And what,
kids are in
Dave,
state.
for people who haven't really followed it, like what kind of things was he Googling? They weren't very nice.
How to dismember a body. Does baking soda kill the scent of a dead body? Where's the best place to get a divorce? What state? What happens when you get a divorce? How to dismember a body? And something that's very, 2 things that are real disturbing is the next day after he killed her, he sent her phone a text message that said,
Yeah.
I still love you. Ha ha. I mean, that's
evil.
I mean, that's just sick. And then they showed him buying stuff to clean up the crime scene with his son on camera. I forget the store, but one of the stores.
I think it was Home Depot or
was it Home Depot? And he's with his son. He just killed the son's mother. He's buying stuff to
like a hacksaw.
you know. Yeah, I mean, he's buying stuff with the kid there, and it's just, not a good scene. I feel so bad for those 2 kids. She doesn't really have family to take the kids. Her sister lives in Canada. She never made it down for the trial. I don't know how close they were. She has aging parents in Serbia. It's just the mother's a friggin' whack job. I believe the mother was in on everything that happened. I don't believe she helped him kill the body or whatever, but she was, as Brittany said, what's that, an accessory to?
Like she was complicit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, she was. And who's watching the kids? What he did? That dummy doofus did? You know what? He might have got away with this. That fucking retard might have got away with this, except for one thing. He brought his phone with him everywhere he went.
Yep.
Everywhere he went, the stores, dumping off the bodies in the dumpsters. He went to Brockton and Swampscott and Abington. He went everywhere. So the cops, and let's give the cops credit. These cops were on this from day one. They had to move. They had to move fast, because if they didn't move fast, they would have never found the 8 or 10 bags of evidence that they found. Unfortunately, they never found her, because I believe they were probably 2 days late in finding her by the time they investigated, because they pinged his phone everywhere he was. So they were able to track his movements, the dumb fuck. If he had left his phone at home, he might have been able to get away with this.
Right, and didn't they find him, like outdoor cameras showed him dumping like a very large trash bag into a dumpster like 15 miles from his home? Like, why would you do that?
He dumped bags in where his mother lives, right where she lives. He dumped bags in the complex where she lives. You can't tell me she wasn't involved on it, in on this.
Well, now, Dave, did he violate? Because I know he was, he had very strict times that he could leave the house for very specific purposes. Did he do these dumpings like during those time periods?
I think he did the dumpings whenever he wanted to, but it seemed like it was because he could go from. No, it had to be after, because he had to pick his children up And then he had permission to pick his children up in the afternoon at what, 3:30 to 5:30, wasn't it? Then he had to be home.
He had a very wide latitude of time, though. I believe he had like 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night, and it was probably a 10-minute trip. And Brittany, we were saying about, like, didn't he have so much time to take his trash out? How long does it take you to take your trash out? 38 seconds? I mean,
I think they gave him 2 hours.
Ridiculous.
And
Yeah,
then
they gave him like 2.5
to drop
hours.
his mother off, who lived about an hour away.
Yeah, they gave him 6 hours to take his mother home, and she lived an hour away.
So,
well,
yeah, that's
what I don't understand is, why didn't he have a GPS bracelet on? I like most people who are in home confinement have. I'm not following. I don't understand why he didn't have a GPS.
I thought that was pretty much like an automatic these days when you were on confinement.
Yeah, well, that's
what I assumed as well.
That slippery snake didn't have one. He got away with that one. But you know what? I mean, I try to wrestle with this in my head. I try to wrestle with this. Like, the mother has to take responsibility for her actions also.
Well,
I mean,
didn't she, Dave? Didn't she hire an investigator? Now, did the investigator find anything, or we don't really know that? I'm thinking that maybe that he did.
Yeah, so we're kind of off. We're kind of offline here. I'm not talking about his mother. I'm talking about Anna Walshe. Like, at some point, she's got to be responsible here. Isn't she? I know she's dead. I know she's.
Oh,
dead.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 kids. I mean, it seemed like, her entire thing was, I'm making money, I'm the breadwinner, and I think, my opinion, and again, we're talking about a dead person, but I think she was not a very good mother, and I don't think she made her kids a priority. I mean, let's be honest. If your kids are truly your priority, you don't take a job where you have to, be away from home so much. With those kids, I think they were like 6, 5, and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, typically, you put off like any career aspirations until these kids are a little bit older. Maybe like they're in school. Well, now you can get a job, and like at least they get home. Maybe like once 12 or 13, they can let themselves in. Like the latchkey kid kind of thing. But these are like preschoolers, and you're leaving them to somebody who's already like convicted of a crime. Where the hell's your head at?
Right.
Well, I don't think,
to answer your question, Benny, the mother, Brian's mother, and I think Dave and I talked about this too. She did hire a private investigator to follow Anna, and he did find out she was having an affair.
Okay.
And then maybe, Dave, you want to fill in the rest of that with the call at the restaurant?
Yeah, so I don't think Benny really understood what I was trying to say and Benny's right when it comes to the kids, but what I'm trying to say is, and I'm trying to be polite here.
Well,
but
I don't think we have to be.
Okay, I was just going to say it. How are you out fucking all these guys when you got a guy at home taking care of 3 kids? And even if it was reversed, like if it was the girl staying home, how are you out banging all these guys? You don't come home for Thanksgiving to be with your kids. You don't come home for Christmas. I don't think it was the point that she had a job away from home, Benny, because at that point when she took the job, he hadn't been convicted yet of any crimes as far as the art goes.
Right.
They were all going to move there, but as soon as he was convicted with the art and was put on house arrest, that was it. It was gone. That plan was already gone. So, I mean, it just disturbs me. It just disturbs me because, and I hate this, he's home with 3 kids and she's out fucking banging all these guys, having a great time. Like, where does her responsibility come in for what happened? And so they were at dinner at Christmas time. I believe it was at Christmas time. She was at dinner with her boyfriend.
The boyfriend, right? Fasto?
Yeah. With her boyfriend, when his phone rang. And this is his own testimony on the witness stand. And he looked at it, and it was her husband. And he turned the phone. And he said, "Look, it's your husband calling me." And right then and there, that's a call letting you know I know what's going on. You don't call this guy while they're out to dinner. That's not a coincidence. That is done on, he deliberately did that to let everybody know, hey, I know what's going on.
That sounds like a tip. It sounds like a tip from that investigator, right to the mother, right to Brian Walshe, who then calls the guy.
Right, because he's spoken to the guy before, but that call was letting you know, I know what's going on. I know where you are right now.
Yep.
And I think her fate was sealed then. I think it was sealed before then, but I'm just curious about everybody in the chat room, what their opinion is as far as
Mrs. P already weighed in, and I totally agree. She was very selfish and only thought of herself. Absolutely.
Yep. That's absolutely correct.
I get you want to have you come to this country, and I know, in her mind, she had the American dream, making a lot of money, having a nice house, the 2.3 kids, blah, 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 the white picket fence. But you know what? When you have, it would be different if they were just married, they were, yuppies, and they didn't have, they had their careers, they were married to their careers. Then you do whatever the hell you want. But when you got 3 young children, 6 and under, that's got to be your priority for both of them. And especially, this guy, like I said, I believe he actually, he left him in daycare all day, even though he was like the provider.
Yeah.
He dropped. So what did he do all day?
Right.
Sit home under home confinement.
Soul stolen act.
Right.
Ripped his father off.
Yeah, you're dropping these kids off, you pick them up, but you have like a 7-hour block or whatever it was in between. What the hell are you doing?
I know. Planning a murder.
Yeah. Dave, I'm totally with you. I'm sorry. Now, did she deserve this? Absolutely not. Of course not. It's like Rob Reiner. We said, regardless of his political beliefs or whatever, nobody deserves this. But she didn't help the situation any.
No.
Oh, absolutely not. Reverse it. What if you're a woman and you're staying home with 3 kids, and this guy's in Washington banging these girls? He doesn't come home for Thanksgiving, and he doesn't come home for Christmas to be with you. Reverse it.
Right.
This guy must have been full of rage. I wouldn't kill anybody. See, I'm the opposite. I would have used my head. I would have got rid of her and brought her to probate court and made her pay me child support, alimony, paid her rent on the house, pay my medical. I would have got her right where it hurts, in the pocketbook. But this guy was different. But look at how do you have a guest come on New Year's Eve? Come there, and this was testified to in court. Come there. It was a joyful event. This guy testified joyful. The kids came and said hi to me. Brian Walshe cooked all night. Everybody was happy. They had champagne. They all signed the champagne box. He left at 1:30, and then 2 hours later, she's dead. I don't understand how that happened. So something had to be going on previous to this guy arriving at the house on New Year's Eve.
My only thing that I could come up with is he had to know, meaning Brian Walshe had to know that by then that she was, messing around with more than one guy, or at least the one. And he must have, maybe it enraged him.
Well,
I think that's exactly what happened.
How do you have a joyful evening, though? The guy is there. You have a joyful evening. He's cooking the whole night. Brian Walshe is cooking New Year's Eve for everybody the whole night. It's a joyful atmosphere the guy testified to. Everybody had some champagne. They all signed the champagne box, as you could see. He leaves at 1:30 and she's dead 2 hours later. Something had to be going on previous to this guy getting to the house on New Year's Eve. You just don't.
Right. What do you think, Brittany? You were starting to say something.
It's very possible that they had an argument. He confronted her with the information that his mother got from the PI, and they did a good job of covering that fight up and that information up when their guest arrived. That's the only thing I can think of, is that I believe he confronted her with that night. And then she would have been humiliated if this person came over and this, altercation or argument was going on. So she put the kibosh on the argument, and they sat there and smiled and had a great evening.
They played house for a few hours.
Yep. That's just my opinion.
And then when he left, he must have went back into his rage. It just,
he's a good actor.
Now, do you think he obviously killed her in the house, right?
I think he killed her. I think he killed her down in the cellars. I think somehow he got her down in the cellar. He lured her down there somehow, because that's where all the blood was. They found.
All right.
They didn't find any.
The kids are in the house, right? The kids are home.
I'm assuming they're sleeping. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't find any blood at all in the bedrooms, or his bedroom or her bedroom. So he had to somehow lure her down into the cellar. And I think he stabbed her. That's just my opinion. I think he stabbed her to death. I think he just was so enraged. He just stabbed her to death. Those poor. Now, this Wednesday, Brittany, they're going to sentence him. And they have impact statements.
Oh, that's going to be I want to watch those, because that's going to be an event in itself.
Well, I don't think the people who wrote the impact statements are going to be in court. I think it's going to be read in court. I don't know who's responsible for reading impact statements in court. Maybe the prosecutor, the prosecution. I don't. Obviously, the kids, I don't think, are going to write impact statements.
I can't imagine they're not going to have them. Yeah.
No. Good God. Wouldn't that be awful?
Now, I've seen this. I have seen this, and I hope they get this straightened out. I hope he's not allowed going forward to file a motion to have those kids brought to him to court to see him, or Zoom call him, because I've seen that in other cases. That you're responsible. They say he's the father. It's his right. Doesn't matter what he did. He's still their father. And I'm just repeating what I've seen in other cases. He still has a right to see the kids. So I'm hoping somehow they put the kibosh on that, but I don't think they're going to. I think the state's going to be required to either bring them to see him, however so often, or Zoom call.
Now, where are they? Where are the kids now? Who's got the kids?
They're in
state
custody.
In custody of DCF.
So his mother does not have them.
No, thank God.
Okay.
No, she was deemed unfit to take them. That's what I heard. That's what I found out. She was deemed unfit, and Jesus, if you take a look at her, them kids were with her. They'd be in.
I gave out 3 Jackass awards. She's one of them.
Yep.
It's a kid.
She's definitely one of them.
She got custody of the kids. They're liable to end up in the dumpsters too.
Yeah,
I know.
And of course, he got one. Of course, right?
Yep. Definitely.
I'll tell you who got the other one, and I want to talk about this guy. I think his name is Larry Tipton, the defense lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
What a jackass this guy was. I mean, I don't know if he's just a bad lawyer or like, but then I thought, well, maybe, if you're a lawyer, you have to do whatever your client says, right? You have to defend the client in the way he wants to be defended. So maybe it's not really so much on him, because, he had this eloquent opening statement, and he says, you're going to hear evidence. You're going to hear evidence. I have to remember that at the beginning of the trial. You're going to hear evidence of this. You're going to hear evidence of that. And you know what we got? Like we say in Italian, got some ghoul. We got nothing. from this guy.
Nothing is right.
Nothing. I mean, not only did Walsh not testify in his own behalf, but I think the prosecution put on 47 witnesses. The defense put 0. They had no case.
Well,
so what was that all about? I mean, he's going to show all this evidence. Where is it?
Well, he's just doing. I mean, I think you got to give the guy a break because he's working with nothing. Like he's got nothing,
Exactly.
but he's going to make money defending this guy. It's about money. He's gonna get paid defending this guy, but he ain't got no. He don't have no leg to stand on. He just tried to.
It's like making chicken soup out of chicken shit. You just can't do it. I don't care how good of a chef you are.
What did he have to go on? He had nothing. He had nothing to go on.
To me, he was very unlikable. But I guess now that I've been thinking about it, yes, what did he really have to work with? I mean, Walsh's defense is that he came to bed and this lady was dead. And then, it's like any normal person would do. You call 911, but no, he didn't do that. No, he Googles how to chop up a body. He goes to Home Depot, buys like $500 worth of cleaning supplies and a hacksaw in front of your kid, no less. And then, proceeds to dismember a body and drop it off all over town. I mean, that's what anybody would do, right? I know I would do that.
Yeah. That's some defense.
He's already been stabbed in prison in the head. So they've already tried to. Oh, yeah. He was stabbed in the head. They brought him to the hospital and then put him in Bridgewater for observation for a couple of weeks to see if he was competent to stand trial. But he right now is in a correction facility in Dedham, Norfolk correction facility. Wait till he's all done with this and they process him. I wonder where he's going to end up because it's not going to be good for him.
Does he go into the general population? If so, I don't think that's going to end very well for him.
I agree. And I hope he does.
Me too.
Right. I just don't think wherever they put him, because he's got this smug fucking attitude.
He's very unlikable. I try to find the good in everybody. I couldn't do it with him.
Well, the father couldn't either. The father got rid of him and disowned him, and he couldn't find anything either. The mother's a total douchebag. Sorry, but she's a douchebag.
So why does she marry him? What did she see in him, do you think? I mean, I know we're just speculating, but
that's a good point. Well, first of all, his father married his mother, Brian Walshe, and ended up divorcing her because he was gay. And then he moved in with his gay friend. So that really sent Brian over the edge as far as the relationship with his father. That really sent him into the stratosphere. I don't know what, I mean, she was a pretty girl, and I'll say this, I don't know what she saw in any of those guys she was banging because the two guys that came to court were just as ugly as the husband. But as Brittany said, I don't think she really cared about looks. I think she just was trying to screw her way to the top. And what she did, she was making $300,000 a year because I
think it just fit her model, her plan. Her plan was to come to the United States, meet a husband, get a good job, make a lot of money. I think he was just a piece in that puzzle. He happened to be, I guess, available and willing. And so it just not so much that she loved him. It was just that, he was a box she could check off.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
I think, go ahead, Brittany.
He played, in my opinion, he played the part of a great husband from a rich family. I think that was a big thing that she saw. He was from a rich family on both his father's side and his mother's side. And she saw that.
Yeah. And I think by the same token, I think he, meaning Brian, was, maybe he pushed it a bit just to, impress his mother. Look at the beautiful woman I got. So I think they were. I hate to say it. I think they were both to a certain extent using each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I know Brian's mother had to yell at her during his art trial. I know she had to yell at Ana Walshe and her boss because they were in the courtroom holding hands very, very intimately the whole time, and she had enough of that, and I guess made a scene in court about them how
Wait,
close and holding hands.
She was, yeah. I mean, I guess as much as I don't like the mother, I guess I can't really fault her for that.
Right, because it's not that fast owl guy, but the gem guy or the Glenn, whatever his name was.
Was it the guy with
boss.
the goatee?
Yeah, the white goatee, the boss.
Yeah, it looked like kind of Mitch Miller, kind of the
because as you notice, they're all. If you notice, they're all called confidants.
Right.
Yeah.
So the boyfriend.
Is that another name for an FB, and the second word of that is a buddy?
Yeah, fuck buddy. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, because the first guy that was on, the boyfriend she had that she went to Ireland with said, hey, we became friends very, very closely. Then we became very close confidants, he said, and then an intimate relationship. And then this guy got on the witness stand and they started talking to him. And he said, and I said, he got on a few days later and he said the exact same thing. He goes, I met Ana Walshe. I was her boss. We became very good friends. And then after that, we were confidants. And then they said, ding, 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 ding. In my head, confidants, that means they were screwing because that's what the other guy said. And me and Brittany's had conversations about this. So I guess the new thing when you want to screw somebody is they're not your boyfriend or girlfriend anymore. You're confidants.
In 2025, the word is confidant.
Confidants. So that's when I put two and two together with the second guy, and then with the mother yelling at them, holding hands in court. I said, well, there you go. There's your answer. So she.
Well, I mean, not for anything. That is quite inappropriate.
Yeah.
Well, and and I look at this guy. I don't understand this. I don't know if anybody out there in podcast land, but I don't understand how I'm watching this guy in court. And today was the first day he left through the front of the courthouse where Karen Reed's trial was. And they had the van outside waiting for him. Usually he went in the back way of the courthouse every day. And I'm watching this guy, and he's got shackles on him, and he's all shackled up, and they open the back of the door. They put him in. You see him sitting there. They slam the door, and I'm saying, how do you go from having freedom your whole life to being locked up and being told what to do all day, and you're in a cell and the buzzer goes off for breakfast and the buzzer goes off when breakfast is over and the buzzer goes back on when it's lunch.
Same and this guy was a foodie, wasn't he? This guy was he loved gourmet food. He getting that in prison.
Yep.
But how do you go from that? How do you go from that to now and to being locked? How do you adapt? That's what I'm trying to say. How do you adapt to that? How do you adapt to being free your whole life?
Not only that, you're in an environment where you know that everybody there despises you too.
Right.
Because they know what you did.
Well, that's why you get stabbed in the head. And I want to say something. I want to ask everybody's opinion out there in podcast land. When this judge, because I know the answer for myself, when a judge tells you to go home and don't watch TV, don't talk about the case to anybody, don't watch anything on TV, does that really happen? Because if I was a juror and I was to go home, I'd be putting court TV on. I'd be talking to my wife about it. I don't give a fuck. If you don't want me to talk about this shit, then sequester me.
I was going to say, exactly. You can't leave it to chance. Absolutely correct. If you really want to issue that order, then you got to put them in a hotel, with no connection, take their phone, no newspaper, no TV, no nothing. That's their job for the next, it's not for a year. It was 10 days of trial.
Yeah.
That's part of your, duty as a citizen, your civic duty. Yeah, it's like telling somebody you don't think about the word elephant for the next 2 minutes. Can't happen.
Exactly.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine 10 days and what was OJ's? 9 months?
Right.
Yeah.
9 months. Did they sequester that jury or were they able to go home? I don't remember.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a long time.
Imagine that 9 months for a trial.
Yeah.
And this guy's was 10 days.
Well, I mean, it was, to me, it was the biggest slam dunk of all time. I mean, the only thing I had any scintilla of a doubt about is, were they going to convict him of first or second degree murder? But even that, I thought, like, they got to go all the way on this one. I mean, how do you find somebody and this lady too? We haven't brought it up. This lady, she was 39, but she was a fitness buff. I mean, she was in really good shape. She was always working out, and although and then the defense attorney said, well, people die all the time of, was it sudden adult death syndrome? Yeah, they do, but typically it's going to be like Otis on the Andy Griffith show. That's the kind of person that it happens to. Not this lady was, almost looked like an athlete. Yeah, I mean, that could have happened, but like that's millions to one.
Right.
She was doing a lot of things to stay fit.
Well, yeah, she got her cardio. She definitely got her cardio in, right?
I mean, it's too bad because I agree with Brittany because we talked about this, and Brittany said to me, I think somewhere along the line, in her mind, it was over and she was single because that's how she was living, like she was single again.
Yeah.
Well, did she maybe in her mind thought that this, because what was this sentence going to be, like 3 years in prison?
Yeah.
And
38 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking like I'm putting myself in her shoes. But once he gets locked up, then I'm going to file for divorce, and it should be a slam dunk because this guy's in prison. He's a bum. Any judge is going to find this my way, but he didn't let that happen.
No, well, I feel so bad for the kids. I hope, I don't know. Maybe the sister can't adopt them because she's in Canada and they're in state custody. I don't really know what the laws are on that.
I'm reading. My late mom was on jury duty for about a week in 1988, and she got a case where the suspect would flee before the sentencing. Wow. The suspect's attorney was hurting. Yeah. Wow. And that's very interesting.
I just pray the kids have some type of normalcy. I don't know. I pray they're together. I do. I pray they're together. I don't know if they're together. I don't know if the state would break them up like that. They actually had Meatball Morrissey on today outside the courtroom as Howie Carr would call Meatball Morrissey. And he didn't really give too much information out, but he was the one who tried to prosecute Karen Reed, obviously. And but he didn't give too much information. I think a couple of reporters asked about the kids. But two things I hope for those kids. One, they're not broken up. I hope they're all together in a home. And I hope they don't force those kids to go see this guy while they're growing up or have Zoom calls with this moron.
No.
Oh God, no. That would be so bad.
That would not be in their best interest.
No. Yeah. And I hope to God they keep those kids away from that grandmother.
Yes. Agree.
Right.
So
yeah,
obviously he was convicted with what was it, between Friday afternoon and this morning, what 5 or 6 hours of deliberation. I can't even believe it was that much. I would have given it. I thought they were going to for sure by Friday afternoon have an outcome. But sentencing is on Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
I mean, does this guy get anything but life in prison? I mean, what?
Oh no, he's done.
I don't think so.
Murder one. He can't. Murder one is no chance for parole. Murder two, he would have had a chance for parole, but murder one, there's no chance for parole for murder one.
He's already got the 2. He pled guilty to the dismembering of the body and then lying to police. And I believe one of them has a 20-year sentence. One of them has like a 3-year sentence. And I mean, they could stack that on, on top. If I was a judge, I would, have those not concurrent but consecutive. So like in the event your life sentence runs out, which it can't, but then add the 20 and then add the 3. You don't want this guy getting out of jail.
Oh,
Yeah,
God, no.
oh, he can't get out of jail. He's not getting out of jail. He's in jail the rest of his life without parole. That's what murder one is. He's never seeing the light of day. That's why I was asking you guys, how do you go from your freedom? How old is this guy? 48. So
He's
you
50,
figure
I think
40.
now. Yeah, he's entitled. He's lived. He's been entitled his whole life. Yeah, it's
Right,
going
but
to be
how
it's
do
not
you
like
how
one
do
of
you,
these career criminals that winds up in jail, because I mean that's like it's already a second home to them. Jail. This is a
right?
guy who's lived in the lap of luxury. No, you're absolutely. That's a great point, Dave. How does somebody like that adjust?
I don't know. I seen him in the back of that van today when they threw. I seen him, coming out with the cuffs and the shackles, and I see him throwing in the van. I'm like, how do you adapt? Like, it's one thing if you're a
You
career
don't.
criminal, and it's going to be very interesting to see where they put him after
He
they
might
cross.
go the Jeffrey Dahmer route. Dahmer didn't last too long in prison, right?
Yeah, well, we're going to see what. Well, they stabbed him in the head already. It must be a reason why they stabbed him in the head.
Yep. I hope he goes to
so-
Walpole. I really do.
And that was in a corrections facility.
Is
Wait
that a
till they put him in
hardcore prison, Brittany?
What's that?
Is that a hardcore prison, Walpole?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Hardcore as you get. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the Playa is not from Massachusetts.
Right.
Yeah, that's he's in a corrections facility right now, and they tried to kill him. Wait till wait till after Wednesday when he's actually processed. They do what they do, and see where they put him then, and we'll see what happens to him. Like Kohlberger, whining, whining all the time because they're fucking with him in the prison.
So on Wednesday, does he get a chance to address the judge, meaning Walsh? And do you think he'll do that? And if so, what do you think he'll say?
That's
Oh,
a very
God.
good question.
That is a good question. I don't think he'll say anything if he gets the chance. What can he say at this point?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what he says, I mean,
was-
it's not going to move the judge, not one iota. But I mean, if I don't, in 99% of the cases, most of these criminals, when they get the chance to do that, they're still denying it. They haven't owned it,
Right?
And all that does is really piss the judge off.
Right.
Because I guess in their minds they're thinking, well, I'm going to appeal this. So if I apologize, then I kind of kill my chances for an appeal. But I don't think that could happen here.
Yeah, no.
No. So they were talking about that this afternoon on Court TV. He has every right to address the court, but they think that he absolutely will not address the court. What's he going to say? What's he going to say?
I guess they said he was crying today, but is he crying because of remorse, or is he crying because of fear?
I would say fear.
Yeah.
Well, I personally didn't see him crying. I don't know who did because I watched.
I heard that. I mean, I was listening to stuff all day on and off, but I heard that he had tears in his eyes. But I think it's because he realized he's screwed. Like you said, Dave, maybe he's thinking about what you said. Like, how the hell am I going to survive? What was it, like a 6x8 cell?
Yeah.
Eating, I mean, I'm used to lobster thermidor for lunch. You ain't getting that in prison.
Yeah, you got that right.
You might get some crabs.
I don't think they'll put him in a cell with somebody else. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have his mummy there. His mummy.
The other question is, do you think he'll try to off himself because it's that hard of an adjustment? See, that wouldn't surprise me.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Because it's way too much of an adjustment.
I agree.
I couldn't do it. Well, I'll tell you this much. I was in jail for 2 days when I was younger. And it wasn't for anything bad. It was just a screw up in my paperwork that I had to stay in the Dartmouth House of Correction for 2 nights. And I said, never again. And I didn't do anything bad. It was just stupid, something stupid. but my paperwork got mixed up and they lost it. So I had to spend the time until they straightened it out in court, the paperwork. And I'll tell you what, I was 2 nights and I said, never again. I don't know how they live like that. The buses are going off because sometimes people don't eat. Everybody don't eat together. It's certain sections that eat and the buses are all going off all fucking day. I'm like, never. This is it. Never again. Never again.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody out there to know it was nothing bad. Wasn't anything bad. So
Well,
it was something stupid.
Even if it was, I mean, we all have a past. I mean,
It wasn't anything to do with violence. Wasn't anything to do with violence. Nothing to do with stuff like that. It was just more of a mix-up of my paperwork, and that I couldn't get my bail. They screwed up my paperwork, so they couldn't keep me in a local prison. So they brought me to the Dartmouth House of Correction, and then when they fixed my paperwork through the courts and the bail, I was out. $50 for bail. So it was stupid. But and the point is, I don't know. I don't know how anybody lives like that. I don't know.
The closest I got, I was at the Land O'Lakes jail here in Florida, but it was because I was working for Pasco County, the elderly nutrition department. I was their accountant, and we were looking into because we were buying, we do they call it Meals on Wheels, but there was also 9 sites around the county where a senior could, go and have a free meal. It was part of the Older Americans Act. In fact, I'm sure they still have it. And we were using a company in St. Petersburg. And I mean, we weren't paying a lot of money, but we were always trying to find ways to save money. And one of the alternatives we came up with is, the prison has a very, large kitchen. And, so one of the options was maybe having the prisoners make the meals. And so I met with the undersheriff. I don't remember what the heck his name was. This is about 15 years ago. And we thought, okay, well, we're going to get free labor. It's got to save money. But when they threw in we need this, we need a sheriff, we need a squad car, before you knew it, it was more expensive for them to make the meals for us. We'll stick with what we got. But even being in that jail, at that jail, that was enough for me.
Yeah, right. Gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 8 o'clock comes. It's going to be a very tough night. I got the Steelers are playing tonight, and then you get
that's a must game for them, Dave. They got to win that.
Yeah.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Miami Dolphins tonight in Pittsburgh.
All right, now Baltimore's 7-7, right? The Steelers are 7-6.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Because neither one of them is getting that wild card. The only way they're going to get in is by winning the division. So that is a must game. So if they win, they're 8-6. Now, who are their remaining games with? Do you know?
They have a game left with, I believe, Baltimore. Might be Christmas Eve. Might be Baltimore. But they have Baltimore left. So even if they lose tonight, they still have Baltimore left. And I don't know what the remaining schedule is.
They Baltimore, need to now that makes you wonder, who has the tiebreakers. So say, if say they win tonight, they're 8-6, and then the Ravens are 7-7. If the Ravens win, then who has the tiebreaker?
They'll go to the division. So according to this.
It gets very tricky at this time of the year.
Yeah, they got Miami tonight in Pittsburgh. And then they've got next week they have Pittsburgh at Detroit. That's going to be a tough one. And then they got the Saturday games coming up. So they got Detroit, Baltimore, and Miami.
All right, so Miami is a must win. Those other 2 games the Lions are a really tough team.
And that's in Detroit.
Yeah.
But the Baltimore game, I believe, is the last game of the year is in Pittsburgh. So 2 of their last 3 games are in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Yeah, so they got to win tonight, and they got to win that. They got to win that last game, and that'll get them at 9-8.
Right. The only thing that was happy about yesterday is the Patriots lost. That was beautiful.
I got to tell you something, though. I really believe if the Steelers get in, even though the Broncos and the Patriots have great records, I don't think they're proven entities yet. So I would not be surprised if the Steelers, if they got in, if there was an upset. I could see that.
Well, those Broncos are going to be tough, man. They got what a defense.
I'll tell you the team I think I would, if I was a Steelers fan, the team I would fear is the Bills. Yeah,
they should have lost that game. Though they were behind 21.
That would be the team that I would fear. I mean,
21-0, 24-7. They were losing. I don't,
Patriots really have shocked me, though. I mean, I thought they were going to be in the tank for years after Brady left. They really come back pretty quick.
They did.
Yeah.
And without Belichick, he's too busy with his. How old is his girlfriend? 24.
Yeah, something like that.
Playing Twister and coaching that college team.
She looks like she has Hep C, but other than that,
yeah. What somebody's saying about? Let's see. All right. Yeah, Kansas City's out, and Mahomes is hurt, right? He got an ACL. Yeah. He's out for the season.
Tore his ACL. Yep, tore his ACL. I'm telling you, watch out for Denver. I'm telling you.
They played a good game yesterday. I was really impressed. They got a great defense, and that quarterback.
Nobody gives Bo Nix any credit.
He looked pretty good yesterday.
No.
Leslie, there's a lot of good teams. There's going to be. And more so, I think in the NFC, there's a lot more really, really good teams in the NFC. Although you got in the AFC, you got Jacksonville too. Jacksonville's looking really good.
Yeah. Well, they're not proven yet,
right? But they look pretty well. Of course, they were playing the Jets, and my high school team could beat the Jets.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I might have to change my Sunday radio name from Benny the Jet, maybe Benny something else. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, you talk about being I'm a fan of a team that even at the beginning of the year, there's pretty much no hope.
Yeah.
They were out of it pretty quick this year.
Like every year.
Yes.
Would they start like 0-6?
Can't you clean?
All right, guys. Well, let's call it a night. It's right at it's 10 after 7. What's that?
Can't you cling on to Tampa?
No, they suck. The Bucks. First of all, they're horrible. They lost to the New Orleans Saints, who were 2-9 at home.
Miami,
an easy game for the divisional game they had to have. How do you lose that game? And then you lose to the Falcons, who are like a 3-9. You got to win those games.
Jacksonville, can't you cling on to anything? There's just teams in the NFL that are just lifetime garbage and losers franchise. And the Jets in Cleveland come to mind right off the bat.
Well, I lived in Kansas City for 4 years, and I loved the Chiefs for a long time. But I haven't lived there for 30 years now. It's really hard to keep an allegiance to them. Yeah, maybe the Jaguars, because they're about 3 hours away.
There you go, Benny the Jaguar.
Benny the Jag. Got a little bit of a ring to it. All right, guys. Well, everybody have a lovely week. Stay warm. You guys got snow up there?
Yes.
So
we got about 3 or 4 inches. 3 or 4 inches yesterday. It sucked. Just enough to have ice on your vehicle when you go out at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
Like I always say, there's nothing better than looking out the window on a chilly winter day and watching that snow fall. It's a beautiful sight, but then you got to shovel it and drive in it. And that's not a good thing.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't give up the 4 seasons for anything. That'd be like a tough adjustment for me to go somewhere where.
I'll be honest with you. I do miss it. It's going to be 42 tomorrow morning here. And, most people here panic, but it's like, okay, it's refreshing,
Yeah.
I love the 4 seasons. Ain't nothing like, fall and spring. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
summer.
when spring comes around, I mean, you really appreciate it because you've been through a cold winter, and it makes it's a nice change of pace, and then you morph into the summer, and then the leaves turn brown, and then yeah, no, I hear you. Here it's here it's hot and shitty, and then not so hot and shitty. Those are the two seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm in the second one right now. But even like over the weekend, it hit 75. I mean, I was out in my, like this.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I a part of me really does miss the seasons, like you said.
I don't know. I couldn't celebrate Halloween in 80-degree weather. Just couldn't do it.
No,
Thanksgiving in 80-degree weather and Christmas, couldn't do it.
Crazy. I know.
No, your pumpkins would get all mushy anyway. You don't see much of that. You don't really see much of that down here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more of
I mean, I might fly. I might have a place to get away after December, but before then, I couldn't spend all those holidays in 90-degree weather. I couldn't do it.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe Hawaii. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people moving out of Florida, and one of the biggest intrigues of moving to Florida was that it was a cheap place to live, and that is not the case anymore.
Right.
You got a lot of people in Florida now moving to the Carolinas because it's a lot cheaper there. I never thought that would happen.
Yep.
Yeah, I know a lot of people moving to the Carolinas.
I think I'm staying here. I don't know. Unless, some rich woman throws me the proverbial offer I can't refuse. So you never know. It could happen, right?
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
All right, guys. We'll have a lovely evening. And thank you for everybody in the chat. JMB, Tom Jones, Mrs. P, Chris, the Carlo was here earlier, Mike D, Jason. I think I got everybody here. So, guys, you have a great week. And we will see you all next crime. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Mrs. P.
Bye, Mrs. P.
Be safe.
Bye, Tom Jones.